The Virginia 529 College Savings Plan 2010 CAA Men's Basketball Championship. And game 2 of our afternoon quarterfinal with the 5-seed VCU Rams against the 4-seed Patriots of George Mason. Hi everyone, Scott Graham along with John Griffin, and we have got ourselves a good one. It's going to be a supercharged atmosphere. You've got two teams that, frankly, John, don't particularly like each other very much.
Well, I think I probably agree. I'm not sure of the history, probably living in Pennsylvania nonetheless. But this is a great environment. This is what makes March Madness what it is. This is the CAA version of it, but it doesn't really get any better.
VCU's coming off a big win yesterday over Delaware. They were dominant throughout, and when they are dominant, it's going through their big man who can do a little bit of everything around the basket, Larry Sanders.
Well, Larry Sanders can score. He's got huge wingspan here. When he gets the ball in the low post, there's really nobody that can defend him. He was voted CAA Defensive Player of the Year. If he doesn't block a shot, he's going to disrupt it. He's really worked on trying to score further from the basket. But he is a force to be reckoned with, and George Mason is really going to try to construct a defensive plan to stop Larry Sanders. He's just an incredible player.
He has the ability to go out and change shots. You can also funnel your player to him as he's going to swat it away, so that's something to keep an eye on there. On the other side, you got a superstar in his own right for George Mason. It's been kind of fits and starts this year, but CAA second-team player and a guy who can take over a game in Cam Long.
He made some huge foul shots in the last time these two teams matched up against each other to send the game into overtime. But he's the guy that Jim Larinaga wants to have the basketball at crunch time. He makes good decisions without the basketball. He leads his team in scoring and assists. He can get his own shot. And you'll see George Mason use a lot of screens to help him kind of get in the lane and create things. Cam Long is a very talented player, and this is where I think he likes to kind of step up and make a difference.
Now, of course, these two teams, as we said, have a history. They had a wild game earlier this year. They also had a game here in this building last year that VCU won to win the championship, move on to the NCAAs. We were talking to a couple of George Mason people a little bit earlier today. It's been a long time since they've won in Richmond. Does that weigh on their minds?
Well, I think so. I think this is kind of there's a bit of a chip on the shoulder of both teams. And there's a lot at stake, of course, because the winner advances, the loser goes home. It's the end of the season.
Well, we have got ourselves a battle here in Virginia between the 4 and 5 seed coming up. It is VCU, the 5 seed, against George Mason, the 4 seed. Good one as we continue along in the quarterfinals here in the CAA Championship.
Today's coverage of the Virginia 529 College Savings Plan 2010 CAA Men's Basketball Championship is brought to you by the Virginia 529 College Savings Plan.
Decibel level just went up in this building here at Richmond Coliseum. And we have got two longtime rivals going up against one another. It seems like in ways it wouldn't be a CAA tournament unless VCU and George Mason got together somehow. We told you about Larry Sanders for the Rams. Joey Rodriguez and Bradford Burgess yesterday combined for 19 points in the first half as VCU ran away and hid from Delaware. Mike Morrison's got the opportunity to be a force on the inside, a 6'9" sophomore. Luke Hancock, part of the All-CAA rookie team. And Andre Cornelius, averaging just a tick under 9 points per game, scored in double figures here in his sophomore year 11 times. One thing you'll note as you look at those lineups, this George Mason team is very, very young. And it has been Jim Larinaga's job this year to take this young team, try to shepherd, pilot it, get it to playing the way he wants it to at the right time. 13th season of George Mason and 246 wins. 443 over the course of his head coaching career.
Well, when you talk about a program that's been consistently good, and in the last game we had a chance to talk a lot about Old Dominion, you'd have to certainly think of George Mason as one of those perennial successful teams in the CAA.
Then on the other side, you've got a program that is developed with a brand new head coach. Shaka Smart, 21-8, not a bad start.
No, he's done a terrific job of taking over for Coach Grant, who moved on, and Shaka Smart is young, but very bright, well-liked, has done a great job of acclimating himself to this new team and trying to kind of recraft the team without Eric Maynard.
Just a little bit of look at the pageantry going on and the excitement level going on in this building as we step into quarterfinal game 2. A walkover for Old Dominion in game 1. They will take on the winner of this one between VCU and George Mason. There's your series history. VCU has had the upper hand, but Mason a winner in overtime earlier this year, coming from 15 points down in that ball game in Fairfax back in February. Get comfortable. This should be a good one.
Well, VCU has a bit of a chip on their shoulder. They know it's do or die. They certainly didn't like losing that second half lead to George Mason and essentially in their minds allowing George Mason to come back. Now if you talk to George Mason, they just played great basketball. Cam Long made 2 big foul shots.
Ball tipped away early. Hancock saving it for the Patriots.
Well, if there's a key right now for George Mason is make sure they don't turn the basketball over. VCU has terrific defense, puts a lot of pressure on the ball.
Hancock dragged the pivot foot, and the first possession results in the first turnover.
VCU can be very disruptive defensively. They like to play full court pressure defense. They get in your face in the half court, and they try to take teams out of their game.
Rodriguez. And the miss into the hands of Ryan Pearson, the rebound. Rodriguez had a good day shooting the basketball yesterday.
And as Charlie Willems said at halftime, this is a guy that's really had to kind of move between running the point and becoming or playing shooting guard.
That's Cornelius. Got it from 3. 43% three-point shooter is Andre Cornelius, a sophomore from Charlotte. A lot of gold, green, and black in this building right now. I'll tell you what, you can't get a whole lot more open, and Skeen was like, you know what, maybe I ought to just take this. And now off the steal, Rodriguez makes Mason pay.
Well, that's that full court pressure defense. You can see it's just man-to-man here. Sometimes they make it very difficult even to get the ball in play. Joey Rodriguez very active defensively. VCU anticipates passes so well.
Half-court game for the Patriots. Average 66 a game during the course of the year. Morrison using that length inside and the strength.
Well, he's going to be a great player, Scott. Only a sophomore at 6'9". He just laid that ball up at the rim.
There's Rodriguez, kind of a funny-looking three-point shot. Kind of pushes the ball, but last year he led the conference in three-point shooting, and he drains that one for the lead.
You're right, it's almost a stab, but as you said earlier, he had a terrific shooting night yesterday.
And the other way, Hancock going to be fouled. He'll go to the free throw line. VCU foul call coming on Rodriguez's first.
Rodriguez has great range. It's almost like a one-handed stab. And here's just, I think, a good preview of what's going to happen most of the afternoon. You have the big guy, number 1, Larry Sanders, who's going to come from the weak side and try to block as many shots as possible. But I don't think anybody's going to be allowed an easy basket.
Rodriguez, terrific defender, guy who steals the basketball quite a bit in his own right. One more try for Hancock, the freshman from Roanoke, on the CAA all-rookie team this year. And that one ties the game at 7. There's Sanders inside, kind of got pushed off his mark, hit it anyway.
Sanders likes the ball a little bit closer to the basket, but he's starting to develop the game a little bit further away. He seemed awfully comfortable as he turned and faded away.
That's long. And on the inside, Hancock can't get it. 3 tries at the basket, and the Patriots come away empty.
Well, both coaches emphasized to me before the game that they have to control the paint. They have to control the backcourt. Larry Sanders, of course, is a guy that has to be reckoned with for VCU. But on the other side for George Mason, Mike Morrison is a guy that you have to account for.
Nice job on the high-low pass, and Hancock is going to get called for the foul.
Here's just a dump down in the inside. Sanders does a good job of turning around. He's taller than everybody else. He kind of fades away. I think the coaches would rather see him go hard to the basket and get fouled, but he has developed a bit of a mid-range game.
Bradford Burgess good on the first. Sophomore from Virginia, a couple of years ago, part of the, I should say last year, part of the CAA All-Rookie team.
Did a great job yesterday defending Juwan Carter. Juwan Carter, one of the better scorers in the CAA, really didn't have a good game.
I'll make no mistake about it, that 66-49 game was nowhere near as close as it may sound. VCU completely dominated Delaware. Trying to do the same right here. Quick start for the Rams.
Well, Cam Long, who we talked about in the open, just basically had the ball taken from him.
Oh, another in-close opportunity that just flies off the fingertips. Burgess straight down the lane.
Got both teams right now willing to go up and down.
And it continues. 4 for Hancock.
George Mason talked about, the coaches talked to me about, when we get the ball over half court, we're not going to stop. You play right into the VCU's hands. They put all this pressure on you. And you stop when you come over half court. You have to keep going all the way to the basket, and that's what they're trying to do.
Mason's got numbers in a 3-on-3. And a foul call from behind on Burgess. He'll get called for the foul that's going to bring us to a timeout. VCU trying to turn defense over into offense. They're doing it successfully. And over the first 4.5 minutes, it has been a quick pace here in Richmond. VCU out to the early 4-point lead. VCU by 4. And the early going of a very quick pace first 4.5 minutes of basketball.
It's got a bit frenetic. Both teams willing to go up and down and attack the rim, both ends of the court. Here's Cam Long, tries to go behind his back. Not a good idea against VCU's defense. Their defense is so active, they want to score in transition. That is vintage VCU basketball. Anthony Grant showed us a lot of that last season, and Shaka Smart is doing that as well this season.
Now he wants to be aggressive defensively. After watching the way this team played under Anthony Grant, that was their calling card. Strong half-court defense, forcing turnovers. Morrison to the left hand. And a collision. The officials just try to make sure that everybody stays above board here. Tell you what, Morrison physically reminds me of Will Thomas.
He really shows you a lot of upside. Tremendous amount of promise in this young guy. He's become the go-to guy on the inside for George Mason.
Of course, that would be a heck of a standard to try to live up to in Thomas. Off the miss. Mason down with the basketball, looking at Tyre take the lead. Pearson on the scoop, ties it at 13.
Good positioning in the low post there. He just got the defender on his shoulder, and he had the opportunity to just turn to the rim with no help defense. DJ Gwynn got caught on the wrong side.
And Gwynn got caught in the lane. He travels. And the turnover for VCU. Out of the timeout, Mason is the aggressor.
Gwynn is a very aggressive offensive player. He likes to put the ball on the floor and go to the basket. Just a bit out of control right there. I think both teams are making a statement early on that they're willing to go up and down, and you give me your best shot and I'll give you my best shot.
Long pass, oh goodness. And Cornelius, fortunately for him, bounces right back up again. It's one of those plays where you see a guy land right on the tailbone and it takes a little while to get up. He fortunately fell right.
You can see this long half-court pass. He goes up in the air, and almost like a receiver in football has his legs taken out from under him, and he lands squarely on his back.
Nice to be young, isn't it?
It certainly is. Have to wheel me off the court if it happened to me.
You and I, that would put us up for a good long time.
It's called workman's compensation.
Pearson stepping in and then back out. He got some space cleared out for him and used it. Johnny Williams kind of gave him a convoy to the inside. He's got 4. 8-0 run for George Mason, and now trying for more. Last touched the Patriots. VCU will keep it. Pearson kind of hobbling over to the bench.
Here's this nice drive to the basket, and you said he just kind of created a space, a corridor. Now, VCU tried to help out, but Ryan Pearson, very agile going to the basket. You saw just 2 good finishes by Ryan Pearson.
Johnny Williams was just backing his way and saying, this way, just go this way. From long range, Rozzell, the miss, but the offensive rebound and save for Burgess. Theus is open. And Sanders had it fall right into his lap.
Well, he just happened to be in the lane. A battle from start to finish by both teams. Every time the ball touches the glass of the rim, there's 4 or 5 bodies in the paint. This is a tough battle, and both teams are playing hard. George Mason, maybe I thought was a little bit concerning to me coming into this game, that they wouldn't be kind of the aggressor, but they are very much the aggressor.
Too strong for Birdsong. What a tipped offensive rebound. Kind of a theme for the day here today. That's Sherrod Wright. Off the spin. Sanders says not today.
You can just see the battle in the lane. A lot of bodies, a lot of loose balls. I mean, I think both coaches recognize that the game is going to be determined by what happens in the paint.
Good interior passing. And Johnny Williams going to go to the free throw line.
I think we're going to see more of this today. Larry Sanders does such a great job of boxing from the weak side. Points in the paint right now are pretty evenly matched, 10-10, so both teams trying to establish who's going to own this piece of real estate for the remainder of the game.
Another try coming. Sanders will take a seat. Williams is a freshman out of Memphis. Played in all but 2 games this year for George Mason. And he missed them both. Tie game just over 7 minutes in. Quarterfinal game number 2. The winner gets the top seed, ODU, tomorrow. That's Gwynn. Working inside. He had it knocked away. And Wright dribbling in trouble. It last touched Theus and will stay the same way.
Scott, when you think of both of these teams over the course of the year, and here's a good example of that kind of play around the basket that we're going to see more of. Both teams have athletic front court players.
Cornelius the miss and the rebound down to Burgess.
Only really a game separated Virginia Commonwealth VCU from George Mason. But what a difference it is. One team gets a bye, and the other team has to play in the first round. So VCU said, we don't feel like a 5th seeded team, but for them to win this whole thing, they're going to have to win 4 straight games. It's a meaningful difference.
Cornelius will take a seat. And Ed Nixon back in. The people who were here yesterday said it's so odd, especially in recent years, because VCU has been, you know, the team to beat in the CAA with Eric Maynor as the starter and, you know, the team that they had put together. People said it's so odd to be here on Friday and see VCU playing. They have been used to receiving that 5. Koshelnikov. Trouble with the handle. That's a good extra pass to Nixon.
You're absolutely right, Scott. Joey Rodriguez may have been able to take that shot, but very wisely makes the extra pass.
3-point VCU lead. Just over 8 minutes in. So far, the feel of this game has been everything we thought it was going to be.
Well, this is where a playoff game starts to feel like a playoff game. Sometimes in these first round games, you just don't get the feel because maybe their supporters haven't come to the game or what have you, but this kind of has every bit of feel and flavor of a high-level playoff game / entry to the NCAA tournament game.
VCU trying for their 22nd win of the year. That's Rodriguez. And Wright got there first. Shot clock did not reset. Left-handed pass. Some improvisation inside. Got it to Koshelnikov.
I'm not sure how Koshelnikov got that ball to the rim. He was surrounded by 3 bigger players, certainly 3 front court players from George Mason.
7-0 the VCU run now. And Hancock walked for the second time in the game. That is going to bring us to a timeout on the floor. It's been a game of runs. VCU had a lead. Mason put on a run to take the lead. Rams on a run right now to take it back. 5-point lead for VCU. 10:36 to go here. The first half of play, as we said, been a game of runs, and it's been a high-energy, fast-paced game so far.
It certainly has. Very entertaining for these fans that are VCU as well as George Mason, but Sanders is a guy that has really stepped up here. He happens to be in the right place at the right time for that offensive putback. And here's just great execution in the half court by VCU to get a wide open shot. And Koshelnikov finds a way to finish. But this is kind of really put together this 7-0 run for VCU to take the lead. And I expect more and more runs. You're going to see, I think, George Mason respond right here. And then probably VCU will respond going into the locker room at halftime.
Back and forth they go. VCU with the basketball and the 5-point edge.
And you did mention that these two schools don't really like each other, right?
That is true.
It's really what makes these games so significant. I mean, they're significant during the course of the regular season, but it's a bit even more heightened as we come into NCAA tournament time.
Sanders on the turnaround. He's got that shot to go along with the rest of his game, and that next level is coming.
Yeah, that makes him even more dangerous because the scouting report, well, Larry Sanders says, try to push him further away from the basket. He's not going to make those mid-range shots, or he's going to take off-balance mid-range shots. He's shown us so far that he can make them.
Pearson would resulted in a set shot when he had nowhere to go with it.
He's only a 28% three-point shooter.
Sanders thinking about a one-on-one game with Morrison. And a quick hands coming from behind to take it away. Sherrod Wright leading a 3-on-2. But stumbled over his own 2 feet and turned it over. It's going to be turnover number 5 for George Mason.
I thought pretty good defense by George Mason, the double team Larry Sanders when he put the ball on the floor. George Mason swiped it away, but gave away an opportunity. Wright just mishandled the basketball in transition.
Seems like everybody kind of taking a little bit of a deep breath here right now.
Yeah, there were a flurry of punches, you know, in the first couple rounds, and now I think both teams have settled in.
Long range and too strong on the 3 for Skeen. Another offensive rebound for VCU.
VCU doesn't mind taking the 3-point field goal. They're actually first in the CAA, shooting over 35% from 3.
Off the air ball miss, Another opportunity with an offensive rebound, and VCU's going to keep it.
Scott, VCU is a decidedly better rebounding team. Not as good as Old Dominion, but they are ranked 3rd in the conference with a rebound margin of almost 3 a game.
In the opener here today, we saw a 60-26 rebounding advantage for Old Dominion. Rodriguez in and out. And another try coming as Nixon comes down with the basketball. Tell you what, you get 4 and 5 shots at the basket, you got a pretty good chance of being able to come away with a good possession.
Well, I know we don't keep this stat, but sometimes it comes into play. I know coaches think about it. It's time of possession.
Pearson had it knocked away, kept it anyway. 2-point ball game, and Pearson's got 9 here in the first half.
Well, he has really stepped it up. He scored some tough baskets going to the hoop. He's made a 3, and that time another tough basket.
Sanders just forced his way inside, in and around Morrison. And he's going to go to the free throw line.
There's another look at Pearson. He catches the ball, which wasn't easy, and with his left hand, he's able to finish. He has been a difference maker in this first half for George Mason.
So Larry Sanders, the junior out of Fort Pierce, Florida, 66% from the line on this season. The defensive player of the year in the CAA, no surprise there. The idea here for him is to try to become a better offensive player, not only for this team right now, but for where he's headed from here. We got a chance on the Comcast Network earlier this year to see a big effort from him against Drexel, 29 points and 13 boards a couple of weeks ago here in Richmond.
Yeah, a nice double-double yesterday, which we've come to almost expect from him, 15 points and 13 rebounds. You know, the thing I think for Larry Sanders is he going to be able to have the impact at VCU as Eric Maynard? Could he put the team on his shoulders and carry them to perhaps a CAA championship?
That time couldn't quite get there. He got a hand on the shot from Hancock, who's got 6.
He's a good young player. He really plays bigger than his size. He has a knack for finding a way to score, even against much taller players going to the basket.
Skeen got it off the glass.
Good battle there by Jamie Skeen, 6'9", 245 pounds. He just really pushed Luke Hancock backward to get position to take that shot.
There's Hancock, and hits on one of his own.
He's going to be a really good player, Scott.
And we get a push off. Foul is sending it back the other way. Skeen will be called for the personal, and it's going to bring us to a timeout on the floor. Every bit as back and forth competitive as you might have imagined between a 4 and 5 seed here in the first half. This plays, you're going to see some emotion too.
Well, I really like the way Luke Hancock has adapted to the college game. He's probably had a greater impact of first-year players on George Mason's team than anybody else. He's very versatile. He can make a 3. He can score going to the basket. But there was a physical matchup on the previous play where Skeen scored on Hancock, and they get into a little tussle as they run down the court here. So you're going to expect to see more of this. I know the officials talked to both guys here at the break to kind of make sure it stays a clean, competitive game. But expect a battle between Jamie Skeen, who's a big, strong guy at 245 pounds, and the newcomer, Luke Hancock, who's 190 pounds.
You know what, I'm Luke Hancock. I don't want to get involved in too much of that.
No, I don't think so. Usually, you know, you kind of separate guys by weight class. He and Skeen are not in the same weight class.
No, they are not. That's not even heavyweight and light heavyweight, to be honest with you. One-point ball game. Coming up on 6.5 left here in the first half. There goes Hancock, put his shoulder down, got his own offensive rebound, and got stripped. Rodriguez in toward the free throw line, and they get Andre Cornelius for his first.
Well, battle in the backcourt of 2 small guards. Cornelius does a great job of trying to stay in front of Joey Rodriguez. without committing a foul. That time he is called for the foul, but great competitive battle of two small guards as Rodriguez brings the ball up the court.
Not a lot of fouls, not a ton of turnovers here. It's been a well-played first half. That's Sanders. Out at the edge of his range. Rozzell got himself a rebound. Mason crowd wanted a traveling call. Rodriguez maybe tried to do a little bit too much with the basketball on his drive down the lane.
I'm awfully impressed with George Mason. Every time a perimeter player for VCU catches the basketball like Rodriguez, George Mason is just flying at him, making sure that he has to put the ball on the floor. They don't want him to be able to catch and shoot.
That's just an unforced error as the ball slides through the fingers of Cam Long. 7th turnover for Mason.
Yeah, that's the second miscue by Cam Long, and I think VCU, when you just play full court pressure and teams aren't used to seeing a lot of it, it kind of forces you to make mistakes that are a bit uncharacteristic.
They're trying to set that up, and they got it there. They had a foul call before the shot down on the floor as Sanders was making the catch. It's going to be on Hancock. His second. You said neither team up over the limit yet. Both teams with 5 team fouls now. And Hancock with his 2 will take a seat. Off the inbound, Rozzell short with that 3, and Sanders over the back on the rebound. His first.
And Mike Morrison applauding, I guess, himself a little bit for getting good position and holding it as Larry Sanders tried to gather that rebound. But Mike Morrison, a year younger, I think is using this game as kind of a statement game that I belong, that I deserve to be considered one of the better front court players in this league.
Cam Long missing from 3-point range. And VCU quickly ahead. Oh, wow. Long got back defensively and knocked it away. And you're going to get a reach-in foul on Rozzell, who's saying, wait a minute, I never touched him.
Cam Long is such a versatile player. We often speak of him in terms of his offensive abilities. How about this block from behind without committing the foul? I mean, it shows you how athletic Cam Long can be. You've watched Cam Long over the years. You've seen him go to the basket with some acrobatic dunks. That was an acrobatic block shot. Second in the CAA, Scott, in 3-point field goal percentage of 43%.
Cornelius, a 76% free throw shooter. And another try coming.
Somebody described Cornelius as playing Elmer's glue-like defense on the ball, and he certainly is doing that as Joey Rodriguez brings the ball up the court.
He kind of has to, because Rodriguez is the guy who makes this offense run. So Mason now retakes the lead as we come up on 5 minutes left to go in the first half.
Both teams putting it all on the court right now. There is no tomorrow for the losing team, and there's an awful lot of pride that exists in both programs, and certainly a lot at stake today.
Another takeaway. And out to the safety valve as they'll set up the half-court offense now. This is the 4 seed against the 5 seed. And the ball taken away as Rodriguez going to try to run 1-on-3, but they left him wide open in the lane.
Great finish by Rodriguez. That time he kind of froze the defenders. They were expecting him to pass the ball to somebody filling a wing, and he read it perfectly and got to the rim.
Think of all the times you say as a coach, stop the ball, stop the ball, stop the ball. Nobody did. Cornelius. And lost the handle as he was going up against Sanders. Now Rozzell. They stopped the ball. Pearson's got company. Didn't matter.
Well, we're seeing amazing athletic displays at both ends of the court. On the defensive end, great blocks, great defensive recoveries, terrific hands and steals. And on the offensive end, a really fantastic finish by Ryan Pearson.
And Sanders wanted the contact and got it from Morrison. So he is going to go to the free throw line when we come back as Mike Morrison draws his second. We're seeing highlight film type plays. Strong end-to-end action on both sides. It has been a fast-paced first half with both teams going right at one another. And right now, the seesaw has swung George Mason's way. That's a pretty accurate representation right there of what this building has been like here in this first half. George Mason by 1, 3:33 to go until the break, and Ryan Pearson enjoying a terrific first half.
Yeah, he's perfect from the field, 5 for 5. He's showing us a lot in terms of his ability to score. He's a lefty, and he's found his way to the basket. He's also drilled a 3, filling lanes with tough finishes. Sometimes I just wonder, how does he get the ball to the basket, especially on a play like this? He just kind of spins, hangs in the air. He's playing perfect basketball right now. He's having a terrific sophomore season.
His godfather is Lamar Odom. Had a little bit of a Lamar Odom look to it, didn't it?
It did, actually. The lefty, you know, probably in the genes there, but Lamar Odom, what a great college player. Wasn't in college very long in Rhode Island, but the time that he was there, he got the Roadies into the NCAA tournament.
You talk about a guy who, you know, again, you're talking about Sanders trying to be that kind of guy now. Odom was a guy who, for that year, put a team on his back and carried them. Pearson trying to do a little bit of that here, but just as a sophomore. And Sanders, if VCU gets there, he's probably going to be the guy to take them. 1 out of 2 from the line. Tie game at 29. That's Cornelius. Left it way short, got the long rebound.
Good hustle by Cornelius. Sometimes you don't think as a defensive player you're going to have to box out a 5'10 guy, but he took the shot and nobody boxed out the shooter.
That's Williams. Had it knocked away by Sanders. But Pearson has been Mr. Do-It-All in the first half. How about that?
Oh, he's being guarded by Gwynn. Sanders couldn't get close enough to change the shot. And Pearson, again, continues to be perfect from the field at 6 for 6.
13 first half points for Ryan Pearson. That's Nixon. Left it a little bit short. Guess who got the rebound? Williams. An air ball from 17. And VCU will reset it as we come up on 2 minutes left in the half.
Well, this is shaping up to be everything we expected. We expected a hard-fought game. We expected a hard-fought game on every possession, and we're seeing it on the glass. We're seeing it in transition.
Look at this.
Just finds a way to get the ball to the basket. He found a way to get the offensive rebound. VCU doesn't want to commit a foul. So somehow Pearson found a way to just get the ball to the rim. And right now things are going his way.
TJ Gwynn, now a senior. Been an interesting journey for him in his time at VCU. He's a young man who was on the CAA all-rookie team a few years back. Opportunity here to play a little bit more as Pearson will take a seat. He started the first 13 games this year and then went back to the bench and was off the bench for every game except for senior night.
Well, he did a great job defensively on Juwan Carter as well. He's a real hustle guy, and he's certainly a crowd favorite for the VCU faithful.
Under 2 to play in the half. Nothing decided so far. Dead even at 31. That's Birdsong. Wanted to see if he could get contact. And how about using the backboard, just like Kobe Bryant did last night for the Lakers?
Well, he was off balance. Lois Birdsong went to the basket. He just kind of threw up a shot, but actually positioned himself well enough to get the offensive rebound.
Rodriguez down the lane, and Birdsong got a hand on it. Now Gwynn trying to force his way inside, and you're going to get foul call with 1:10 to go in the half.
Here you can see that drive to the basket, a little bit off balance. I think he caught the defenders by surprise. Now here's Gwynn at the other end, and again, this is very symptomatic of what we've seen in the first half. Guys getting rebounds and trying to find a way to get the ball to the basket. Pearson's done it a number of times. Gwynn does it on that last possession.
And Gwynn missing on the first. Mike Corey already getting him warmed up. But he'll have game 1 winning coach Blaine Taylor with him at halftime. We'll take a look back at our players' spotlight, highlights, I should say, and leading scorers, all coming up at the break. Well, Gwynn 1 out of 2, and he'll take a seat now as Sanders returns.
Well, Blaine Taylor is hoping both of these teams expend all their energy, put it all on the court here this afternoon, and that they're tired out by the time they have to go up against Old Dominion tomorrow.
He's just saying, keep playing hard and fast, guys.
Overtime, double overtime, it's not going to bother me.
And Theus going to get called for the foul. Hancock did as much to create that foul as Theus did committing it as he picks up his second. And a one-on-one opportunity now coming for George Mason. Hancock a good first half. 9 points and 4 boards. They get 10 now, and one more try coming. Tonight, number 2 seed Northeastern, number 7 seed Hofstra. Well, Northeastern was just sitting back and watching last night. Hofstra was taken right to the limit by Georgia State, winning that game late. Our next CAA quarterfinal comes up as part of the nighttime doubleheader tonight at 6, right here on the Comcast Network.
Hancock has had some big games in his freshman year against Georgia Tech and Indiana, and played well against George Washington and Tulane. What a great first year, and well-deserved selection for the CAA All-Rookie team.
Pearson back in the ball game. VCU with under a minute to play in the half, down by 3 with the basketball.
I think George Mason has done a very good job of defending VCU on the perimeter.
And Rodriguez missed, but a long rebound down, and they'll get another opportunity. Rodriguez to the lane, and it's knocked away.
On one hand, I applaud Rodriguez for trying to get past his man and into the lane, but at his size, it's so difficult to finish.
And VCU will take the use it or lose it timeout. Try to set something up. Only 0.8 of a second of differential between game and shot clock. So in reality, they could pretty much hold the last shot of the half.
Here's Rodriguez getting into the lane. He does a great job of getting in between defenders. But again, you can see number 23, Rashawn Wack, just coming from the help position and blocking that shot.
Exciting time of year. That man, of course, experienced perhaps the most exciting time in any recent memory for any CAA team.
Well, Chuck Daly, the former NBA and college coach, said to Jimmy Lynam one time at St. Joe's that Jimmy Lynam went to the Final 8, and there's George Mason's banner of the Final Four team in 2006, that every once in a while in your career, you get a slice of the cake. And Jim Larranaga had a big, big slice of the cake in 2006.
That was a fun ride and a fun team to watch. Holding for ostensibly the last shot of the first half. Sholnikov set some kind of screen, and on the turnaround himself, can't get it to go. 3 seconds in the half. Pearson got to bomb it away. It would be good if it got there, but it doesn't. And that's going to do it for the first half. Big first half for Pearson. And VCU hanging tough in a back-and-forth affair. Watching that first half, you got to be thinking last 5 minutes is where this game's going to get decided.
Yeah, I think there's going to be an awful lot of lead changes as we have 20 more minutes of basketball to play.
Highly emotional, very competitive quarterfinal game. We are at the half with George Mason on top, 35-32. Mike Corey with ODU's Blaine Taylor coming up at the half.
Welcome back inside the Richmond Coliseum. Quarterfinal game number 2 of 4 today as George Mason leads VCU by 3, 35-32. Hi, everybody. Mike Corey, thanks for being with us today. We got some great games, and one of them you're watching right now, nip and tuck three-point game here at the half. Right now, being joined by the head coach of the winning team from game 1 today, Blaine Taylor of Old Dominion. You guys, no trouble with Towson, a 30-point win. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. Towson had played so well yesterday. I really am proud of the way our kids showed up in the tournament. A lot of people, you know, have that, you're going after that #1 seed and trying to knock them out of the tournament. And our kids handle things. We're watching quite a game right now. We should have a great game tomorrow. And I'm really proud of the way our kids played today.
It could have went more perfect for you because you had a chance to kind of rest some of your starters there. You had the game in hand so early on.
Well, Mike, you're exactly right. You know, if you could choreograph it, you'd say, boy, I wish we could win by a large margin. You know, play your bench a lot and rest your starters a little bit. And that's the way it worked out. You know, I think it'll probably help us more on Monday night if we can get there, because I think we'll still have quite a bit of fever out of both teams tomorrow.
All right, how about Gerald Lee? 17 points. He did it all once again for you guys.
Well, Gerald's a real fine player. I think he's one of the better players in the league, and he really came to play. That means a lot to him as a senior to finish this year strong. He's had a real nice run. I think we had some other kids like Frank Cassell and Keon Carter on the front lines. We had a lot of contribution. We outscored him 41-0 off the bench. But Gerald, you know, for only playing 20 minutes, can you imagine if he had played 30?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've had so much contribution, though, from so many different players on this year's team. And throughout your history, the way you've been able to kind of bring guys along, and that helps you in tournament time. You need that.
Well, we recruit young kids, high school kids, we redshirt, we try to develop guys and get them in the game. And so today our bench paid off. And so as it turns out, you know, that depth sometimes in a 3-game basis in a tournament is really critical to have that next guy to go to.
How about points in the paint? That seemed to be a real key for your team today. You did it early and often and really took it to Towson in that area.
Well, in that regard, a lot of our credit goes to our perimeter players. I thought we really moved the ball. I thought we pushed the ball down the floor. I thought we got the ball into areas we wanted, and we passed the ball well. There was, you know, 19 assists in the game like this. I mean, we really shared the ball, and the interior guys finished the plays.
All right, Coach, you have the winner of this game coming up, VCU and George Mason. How about the pace of play? You got to be loving this. You don't care, you know, go to 4 overtimes. You know?
Yeah, I hope 4 overtimes, but it's quite a game. I mean, we've got a nice crowd here in the Coliseum, and the game's going back and forth. I really think that if you start looking at how well they've played, can they keep up this pace? I mean, it's a frenetic pace. Some great defense being played, great block shots, balls knocked loose. Some of the plays you have to make on offense to score are incredible.
All right, well, it's going to be a great game tomorrow, no matter who you got out there. We wish you the best of luck, and thanks so much for coming on, all right?
Thanks so much, Mike.
I appreciate it. Blaine Taylor, the head coach of Old Dominion, the #1 seed in the tourney. They'll take on the winner of this game, VCU and George Mason. We'll be back with more at halftime after this. So far, pretty good first half here between VCU and George Mason. The Patriots have a 3-point lead at the break. Welcome back to the Richmond Coliseum. Thanks for being with us today. Mike Corey with you. Halftime here of quarterfinal game number 2, as George Mason hanging on to a 3-point lead. thus far. Awesome atmosphere here. These two teams have met in the championship 3 of the last 6 years, and now here in the quarterfinals. We spotlighted a couple of players before the broadcast of each team. Cam Long of George Mason and Larry Sanders of VCU. We'll start with Sanders, and so far so good for him in the first half, knocking down the jumper, playing the defense that you know from him. Has 9 points in the first half and is able to hit that little mid-range jumper that is a part of his game that he's working on, of course, for the scouts for next year in the NBA, and also defensively with a steal there, and Rodriguez able to convert for the Rams in the first half. Now Cam Long is a different story. They've held him in check. He hasn't scored a point so far here in this first half. The leading scorer for George Mason has been really shut down. He also has a couple of turnovers in the first half and just hasn't been able to find his range from the outside as of yet. Trying to help out on the defensive end, though. A great block here, and I think he'll pretty much take it, although he doesn't have any points. His team leads by 3 at the break, so that's got to be a kind of a decent sign for George Mason, their leading scorer, held in check. Sanders with 9, Cam Long with nothing, but we'll see what happens in the second half. When we return, Scott Graham and John Griffin have highlights and stats of the first half as George Mason leads VCU by 3. We'll be back.
35-32, George Mason on top of VCU. We are at the half here in Richmond of our quarterfinal game number 2, and we told you about the emotional level that we were going to be seeing from these two teams, the high level of play between the 4 and 5 seed, and yeah, every once in a while you get a game like this where it doesn't live up to that. This one has. Absolutely.
There's no difference between these teams. It just so happens that only 4 teams were allowed to bye, and 1 team had to play in the first round, and that happened to be VCU, but they're very evenly matched. There's a lot of emotion that's on the court right now, and I expect it to be a very volatile 20 minutes or more.
Taking a look back at the first half, it was end-to-end action. It was all kinds of scoring.
It was fast-paced, up and down. Both teams willing to challenge the other, attacking both inside and out. And again, I thought a very high level of play across the board. Joey Rodriguez made a 3, but I thought you saw both teams playing pretty good defense. Here's vintage VCU defense, and Cam Long, we talked about not having a particularly good offensive first half. Here's a good look at a very talented freshman, Luke Hancock, taking the ball all the way to the basket. And this is a guy that had the best half of, I think, anybody on the court, and that is Ryan Pearson. He really stepped up offensively, shot really a great first half, and doing it all right now for George Mason. I think the key is going to be Cam Long in the second half and whether or not he can get on track offensively.
Well, he was not an issue in that first half, and that really is a key for this team. Pearson, though, carrying the load with 13, and Hancock, the freshman, with 11. Good scoring balance for VCU. Sanders with 9 to help lead the way. But it was a first half of runs. Back and forth they went. We expect to see 20 minutes more, a lot like that. 3-point lead, second half action coming up.
Coverage of the Virginia 529 College Savings Plan 2010 CAA Men's Basketball Championship is brought to you by the Virginia 529 College Savings Plan.
George Mason sitting on a 3-point lead as we get ready for the final 20 minutes of this one. The winner goes on to take on Old Dominion. Winner here in our first game this afternoon, and the #1 overall seed. Shaka Smart trying to get his team back on an offensive track as they were 3 for their last 15 from the floor at the end of that first half, and ended up shooting at 36%. 3-point field goals too, just 2 out of 10 for VCU. Although they do have a slight rebounding advantage going into the second half.
Well, I think VCU is a potent offensive team. They haven't necessarily shown it here in the first half. They average 76 points a game, and right now in the first half they only have 32. They're a better shooting team than what they've seen so far, but you have to give some credit to George Mason and their defense.
20 minutes to go. Try to get a spot at 3 tomorrow afternoon in the semifinals.
You know, if I were a coach in the locker room at halftime, I'd say probably we don't have to do too much differently than what we've done in the first half for either club. It's just for VCU. You just got to make some more shots.
Cornelius fired that ball right off Sanders' heel, but a fortunate bounce for Mason. And Morrison is going to go to the free throw line after the foul call on Nixon.
Good pass by Cam Long. He cut to the basket, received the ball, and decided not to take it himself. And he distributes the pass to Mike Morrison.
So Morrison, not a good free throw shooter. And you would figure over the course of his next couple of years, for the Patriots, his size and the way he can work around the basket, that's going to have to change.
Yeah, because the alternative is you keep fouling Mike Morrison. You don't let him get a field goal, and you put him on the foul line.
As it turns out, that strategy would have paid off right there with an 0 for 2.
Yeah, because over time they become empty possessions. You know, when you have a basketball and you get a shot, or you get to the foul line, you count that for something.
Here's Nixon, and the rebound for Pearson. Quickly ahead, Cornelius. Got it.
Talk about filling the lanes quickly. Andre Cornelius really got out ahead of steam, and nobody could catch up to him.
George Mason with their largest lead of the game right now. And looking to expand that. Patriots, a young team trying to find their stride here late.
Well, this would be a huge shot in the arm for George Mason to come out of here with a win, and especially with Cam Long not having scored.
And that continues as he misses on the long 3. Rodriguez, good look underneath, and Sanders with a left hand.
Well, VCU needs a little bit more of that. It was good reversal of the ball to find Sanders in the lane.
Wow.
Whoa.
That was some kind of collision here. Our camera guy Joe Helder okay?
Joe took a charge.
Joe's a tough cookie. Here's what it looks like to be a cameraman in a situation like this. They're coming, and you got no defense.
Luke Hancock landed right on top of Joe. Joe's immediately to our right, and did a great job of hanging in there, Joe.
You all right, bud? He's good. Our camera guys are from tough stock, John.
Well, you got to be willing to take a charge. You know, when you interview for this job, not only do you have to be adept at your camera work, you have to be willing to take an offensive foul. So Joe has certainly passed that test.
Meanwhile, the lead is 3 for George Mason.
Camera work is not for the faint of heart.
No. Hancock, kind of a blind pass to the inside, and Skeen with the steal. Now he's up on top, thought about the 3, and had it taken away by Pearson.
Look, everybody talks about VCU's defense. I'm awfully impressed with George Mason's defense and Cornelius stepping up offensively.
Nobody got a hand in his face. The lead back to 5. Burgess has been very quiet.
I think Jim Larrañaga was concerned coming into the season, only having one senior on the team, where he's going to get some leadership. Oh, how about Rodriguez? Really steps up there and knocks down a 3. But it just seemed as if George Mason was starting to take control of this game.
Rodriguez has 10. Back down to a 2-point game. Long on the run, hits for the first time.
An off-balance shot going to the basket, but Cam Long has such great hang time. He's able to get actually a good shot from what looked to be a very off-balance position.
See Mason just completely out-shooting VCU at this point. It's still just a 4-point game.
And it really sometimes just comes down to that, because both teams have actually gotten quality shots.
That's Burgess. Got it. Rattles home a 3, and we have got a 1-point game.
Well, he's another guy capable of double digits. Burgess, a solid three-point shooter at over 40%.
He wants help on the outside. Sanders lays back. Cornelius in and out. And after it looked like Mason was taking control, VCU could take the lead. It last touched Hancock, and it goes back to VCU when we come back. Truly a seesaw battle. 1-point ball game, under 16 minutes to go. A little bit of the festive atmosphere here. The CAA championship in Richmond. 1-point game. George Mason on top. They had run out to a pair of 5-point leads, but VCU has come back, and they have the basketball as we come back to play.
And it's been back and forth the entire second half so far. You see Cornelius getting in the lane and a nice pull-up there, step inside the top of the key. Rodriguez comes right back, and he nails a three. So it's punch and counter punch. Nice penetration here by Cam Long. He gets an off-balance field goal in the lane. And then coming back the other way, Bradford Burgess nails a shot. So neither team is giving any ground, Scott. I mean, anytime it looks like somebody's able to get a little bit of momentum, it swings immediately back to the other team.
Sanders the inbound. Rodriguez with a basketball in his hand.
You kind of wonder, whomever wins this game, are they going to have anything left in the tank for tomorrow, because they're going to have to face a well-rested, very fresh Old Dominion team.
A winner by 30 in their game earlier today. That's Rodriguez off balance, left it short. And Long will take over as he brings it across the stripe as we cross 15 minutes left to go. Talk about denying the pass. 25 from the hoop, but Long found his way inside and missed it. Morrison, the offensive glass, and the putback doesn't go. Another try potentially coming.
There is just so much contact on every play. I mean, every drive, every cut, every box out, every post up. This is a very physical game and difficult to officiate.
Pearson missed it. There are times this has a look of a Big East game. And you're going to get a whistle and a foul call. It's going to be against Pearson down at the other end before the ball ever got into the forecourt.
I think the officials are just going to try to make sure they establish competitive play without it crossing the line. Okay, so it's a good job by the officials to kind of clean that up. You don't want to raise your elbows. It's one thing to position yourself in the low post or box out hard, but as soon as you raise your elbows above your kind of chest, your shoulder area, you're going to get called for a foul.
Rodriguez caught in no man's land in the middle of the lane. And then Burgess gets fouled. The push call coming on Hancock. His third. Well, just as soon as we say that there's been a lot of contact on each play, we're beginning to see a little bit more in terms of the officials blowing whistles.
Well, I get a sense before this is over, both teams are going to go to the foul line quite a bit. Foul shooting was not much of a factor in the first half. I think it's going to be much more so in the last 10 minutes of this game.
Rozzell, fade away, got it. And the lead for VCU. And a steal. Reach in on Long. And now the crowd supporting the Rams coming to life.
Well, that was a tough basket by Bradford Burgess, almost a fadeaway in the left corner. And then to follow up with a good defensive play. Here's this little step back. A difficult shot, and now defense on the next possession. Cam Long turns the ball over and commits a foul, so VCU gets another possession.
VCU led by as many as 7 in the first half. Mason is led by 5 twice here in the second, but now it's VCU again. And Gwynn got caught in midair with nowhere to go. And he stepped on the sideline. Did Sherrod right? So back it goes the other way again.
Well, when you look back on this game, especially if you're going to be the losing coach, you're going to look at a lot of little plays and unforced errors, and you're going to look at the drive to the basket by T.J. Gwynn saying, hey, I'm just a little bit off balance. Or the play on the sideline where George Mason steps on the sideline. So it's going to come down to a little play here or there.
I'm going to whistle away from the basketball. Going to get a foul call yet again. Lewis Birdsong gets called for the personal, his first.
I think the officials are really looking at play away from the ball and making sure that it's good, clean basketball. And that time, Birdsong was just really kind of hand-checking his opponent, didn't let him cut across the lane.
Sanders, how about that? Just inside the three-point arc.
But Marson was doing a good job defending him on the low post.
And Pearson hit, nailed it.
Here's Sanders deciding he can step outside and make a shot just as well as anybody else. And we've seen this time after time. Pearson going to the basket. Coach Shaka Smart didn't think the basket should have counted, but Pearson looked like he was in the act of shooting. A difficult finish, but he's done that all night long.
The foul was on Rodriguez. We're tied at 44. That didn't take long.
That's just knowing your teammates so well. These guys have executed alley-oops like this all throughout their career. Rodriguez didn't hesitate at all. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Sanders, and he just threw it to the rim.
Full court pressure now for VCU, trying to turn it up a notch. Birdsong makes him pay.
George Mason coming into this game wasn't going to hesitate once they got the ball over half court.
And T.J. Gwynn is going to the free throw line. Get tired just watching him.
It's not exactly a track meet, but it's a very fast-paced game. Here's another good look at it. No hesitation by Rodriguez. He just throws the ball to the rim. He knew his teammate was going to be there to catch it and finish.
T.J. Gwynn shooting 2. Senior out of Burlington, North Carolina. Here's your free throw numbers so far. VCU's done a good job of making theirs. Better than 71% on the regular season. And a 2-point lead as Darius Theus will make a return. And Burgess will take a seat. Full court pressure again from the Rams. And a great job of breaking that pressure. Twice in a row now, they're giving up the easy look at the other end.
Well, I know they were prepared for VCU's pressure. They practiced this quite a bit. But you know, they did not have to play yesterday, so they had an extra day to get ready. They were fully prepared for this full court pressure.
And the foul call is going to be on Birdsong, which is going to bring us to a timeout as he draws his second. Dead even with 11:47 left to go in a completely entertaining quarterfinal here in Richmond. .48 apiece, 11:47 left to go here in our quarterfinal game. The winner moves on to meet ODU. Well, last year in Richmond, the VCU Rams left no doubt as to who was going to win the CAA bid to the big dance. Eric Maynor and Larry Sanders were the stars for VCU in a lopsided win. Maynor led the way with 25 points and 8 assists, while Sanders had a career-high 20 rebounds to go with 18 points and 7 blocked shots. VCU cruised on to the 9th NCAA tournament bid in school history. 71-50 was the final. VCU has won 3 of the last 6. Mason has been in 3 straight finals. 2 teams who have been very well represented in the landscape here in Richmond in the postseason. One of them's going to the semifinals. One of them's packing it up.
Well, Coach Shaka Smart has done a good job in many ways, one of which is he basically kept the same style of play that his players were used to, accustomed to, and very successful at. He certainly maintained his composure on the sideline throughout a season that had its ups and downs, but they're playing terrific basketball right now. And George Mason, who has struggled a bit over the last couple of weeks, is playing very good basketball right now at the helm of a very experienced coach in Jim Larrañaga.
VCU will move on and play in the postseason, but they want it to be in the 4-letter tournament. And you do it by doing that. Rozzell from downtown. 3-point lead for the Rams.
That was not an easy shot. He came along the baseline, used the screen on the side, got some space, had his feet under him, and drilled a very deep 3.
Ball nearly lost, but you're going to get a push-off foul. Going to be called on Darius Theus. His 3rd.
So play on the sideline. I think it's a good call by the officials.
Cornelius lost his footing and the basketball.
As you can see, George Mason setting a lot of screens on the ball. VCU doing a good job of defending those ball screens. When I talked to the coaches of VCU, they said in the second half of their last game against George Mason, they didn't defend that well, and they've really focused on making sure they were prepared for it here this afternoon.
Turnovers pretty even on both sides. Rodriguez, good skip pass. Rozzell got hit as he let it go. No call, but gets the basketball back.
Good hustle on the part of T.J. Gwynn to keep the ball alive. VCU has a very small lineup in the game. Larry Sanders is out of the game. Kishnalikov is really the tallest player on the court for VCU. So Coach Shaka Smart going with basically a 4-guard lineup.
7th rebound for Pearson. Under 10 minutes left to play. And you're going to get a push. Kishnalikov called for the personal. His 2nd, team foul number 6. Good ball game. Next foul for each side is going to put the opposition at the line the rest of the way. Pearson having a day. That ties his career high.
I think Pearson's left-handed finishes are just throwing the defenders off. I mean, to his credit, he's able to hang in the air. But I think the defenders are just kind of thinking the ball's coming off his right hand, and every time it's coming off the opposite side of his body.
And another whistle. Mike Morrison called for the personal, his 3rd. And that means VCU is shooting for the rest of the ball game over this last 9:07.
Scott, when I look back on the last game these two teams played and went to overtime, really the difference in the game was foul shooting. George Mason made 5 more free throws than VCU, and that was the margin of victory for George Mason in overtime.
Now there's a big miss for Kishnalikov. But in a 1-point game as we cross 9 minutes to go, every possession right now is going to feel like it means something. Long. Takes it right back again for George Mason.
Well, you know, he hung in the air so long it actually froze the defender. The defenders were kind of expecting him to pass because he seemed like he was off balance, and he just almost in slow motion hung in the air and was able to finish, not with a layup, with a slam.
Going up against the zone, you're going to get a traveling violation on Theus, who spun the wheels at the beginning of that drive.
This is a huge play here by Cam Long. He just kind of threads his way in, hangs in the air. An unbelievable finish.
There's the accompanying noise that goes with that from the rim and the player. Boy, they're denying Long all the way out to half court. Cornelius from 18. Too strong.
I think it's worth George Mason's time to work the ball around a little bit more and try to get it to Cam Long. Eventually the defense tires out and you can get on the ball, and he can break down his man and get in the lane like he showed on that last possession.
VCU not really even trying to get the ball into Sanders right now. Kind of content to settle on the perimeter against his zone. Rozzell pounding inside. Sanders, one long arm, comes away with the basketball, and the held ball with possession arrow will send it the other way. So the ball goes back to George Mason when we come back. Cam Long with a thunderous drive down the lane has put the Patriots back in front. George Mason 52, VCU 51, 7:36 left to go here in this one. All kinds of emotion going on in this building. And the Larry Sanders show, 11 double-doubles on the year. The question now, it seems, with him on the bench and then back in, as they've been playing a perimeter game, he has not gotten a lot of offensive touches of late.
He has not gotten the ball, especially in the low post, where you think he could do the most damage. I mean, there's nothing certainly embarrassing about his points tonight. 15 and 9 rebounds and 3 blocks. That's awfully solid for most players. But this is where, in the past, we've seen an Eric Maynard just kind of take over. When the game's in the balance, and you really need somebody to step up, a player like Larry Sanders can make all the difference in the world, because physically he's just different than everybody else.
Nine ties, 10 lead changes. 7.5 to go. That's Long. Ran into some trouble, got a little help. This is where we talk about Morrison, though, and his ability to shoot free throws. He gets fouled, and he'll go to the line.
Well, understandably, as Cam Long went to the basket, he created this double team, and he had to dump the ball off to someone. Mike Morrison was close by. Jim Larrañaga takes Cornelius out of the game and lets Cam Long basically be the point guard running the show.
His demeanor never changes on the sideline, does it?
No, he's awfully calm, and I guess that's a result of many years of coaching, and he has a real good feel for what he wants his team to accomplish. He's got a terrific staff. Jim's done a great job at George Mason. Great history of coaches as well at George Mason. But Bowling Green before that, and a terrific guy.
2-point ball game coming up on 7 minutes left. No team is led by more than 7 in this one. That's Sanders, 3 around it. Nixon got it on the floater with 2 on the timer. Now right into the open floor and threw it into the bottom side of the rim. 4-on-2 for VCU, and Rozzell got it.
That's how quickly this game can change. A matter of 2 or 3 possessions. Nixon drives to the basket with an off-balance shot. He makes it. What appeared to be an opportunity in transition by James Madison, they miss it. And then VCU comes down and nails a huge 3.
Big shots, one after the other. And with a timeout on the floor, it's now VCU by 3. Lead for VCU with just over 6.5 left to go. Don't forget tonight, number 2 Northeastern and number 7 Hofstra beginning at 6 o'clock right here on the Comcast Network. And of course, James Madison and William and Mary to follow as our coverage continues here in Richmond. Those games are anything like this game, not bad.
This is just the last part of a 3-possession sequence where you can see Brandon Rozzell just nails a huge 3. Been an awful lot of swings here during the course of the game. 11 lead changes, and you can see 10 ties. I get a feeling we're going to add to that in the last 6 minutes of this game. No surprise here. The last game between these two teams went into overtime. Cam Long made 2 big foul shots in the last 4 seconds. And you just have a feeling we could be in the same situation here this afternoon.
Get comfortable. Morrison, I think he really gave a thought to that long-range jump shot and lost the handle on the way out.
Yeah, he was invited to take that shot. Almost being begged to take the shot.
Hadn't taken a 3 all year. Hadn't attempted one. Rozzell. He has become the hot hand. VCU 5 out of 8 from 3-point range here in the second half. And their biggest lead of the game was 7. They're now up 6.
Well, somebody described him as a shooter's shooter. That time I thought he had the shot when he first caught the ball, but he gave a little head fake, took one dribble, and took what I thought was even a more difficult shot.
Pearson, how about that? And he'll have a chance at a 3-point play as Burgess is going to be called for the foul.
Here's another look at that last 3. A little head fake, one dribble. And then at the other end, you're going to see another look at Pearson, who's just having the game of his life. He's now set a new career high. That left-handed finish, almost every shot he's taken tonight has been off balance.
Pearson with that new career high, trying to get his team back to within 2. Left it short. And Burgess, who just got his 4th foul, covers up the rebound. There's Burgess inside. Oh, the official says one official overrules the other, and that is going to be a charging foul, and it's going to be on Burgess. Burgess is just fouled out of the ball game.
Well, you're absolutely right, Scott. There was, for a fraction of a second, a difference of opinion between officials. We could probably see it from our angle.
I think it was a block.
I think it was a charge. That's what makes it so interesting. But nonetheless, the consequences are quite significant.
Shaka Smart agrees with me.
I can understand why.
Watch the hip slide.
Yeah, he does, slide his hip a little bit. He certainly slides his hip a little bit.
Bradford Burgess with just 5 points on the day. Distraught right now that those 2 fouls came back to back. And he didn't think he deserved either one of them, but his day is done.
Well, I'd probably argue in his favor with that last possession when Ryan Pearson made the shot. I didn't see any contact from our angle.
Rozzell making something happen defensively. The junior from right here in Richmond, who started 17 straight, then for the last 4 games came off the bench as he was in a cold streak, is getting hot at the right time.
Well, a little conversation here between Luke Hancock and Mike Morrison in terms of let's get on the same page. Was not happy with that pass, but this might be a sequence in the game where experience comes into play.
My goodness. Brandon Rozzell. This is his ball game right now. He's got 14.
He's just unconscious. You know, so much of the defensive focus has been on Rodriguez on the perimeter, Larry Sanders in the lane, and Rozzell has just taken over this game.
Talk about stepping up in a spot. VCU matches their largest lead of the day, and it's largely been about what that young man has done over these last 3 or 4 minutes.
These have not been easy shots. They've been from long range, a couple of them off the dribble. Here's this little miscue here, but good hustle and anticipation by Rozzell. Here he is on the offensive end, some dribble penetration, speeder set, great rotation on the basketball.
He has 9 straight points for VCU and 11 of their last 13.
He has been an absolute spark for this team. One point in his career, he played with the number 5. He switched it to number 32. It seems to be working for him.
Back to his high school number. Like we said, local kid from Richmond, Highland Springs High School. Pearson came open on the pick and roll, and it's swatted away.
Larry Sanders from the weak side, when it looked like Pearson had an opportunity, he kind of closed the door.
And Rodriguez fouled from beyond the arc. Morrison called for the personal, his 4th, and Rodriguez will shoot 3 as VCU now tries to take over this game.
Here's Pearson, and all of a sudden, Larry Sanders steps into the play defensively. Here's Rodriguez using that ball screen, and Morrison can't quite see it on that replay, but he basically knocks over the 5'10" Joey Rodriguez. Great story about Rodriguez. He was thinking of leaving VCU when Anthony Grant left to go to Florida. Excuse me, when Anthony Grant left, Rodriguez went home and spoke to his family in Florida and considered leaving, and the coaches gave him some time to think about it. He came back, and what a career he's had, what a season he's had as a junior here at VCU.
That's Shaka Smart's go-to guy next year from that point guard spot. No doubt about it. Biggest lead of the day now for VCU with 4:12 left to go.
Just get a feeling here that VCU has just a little bit more kind of chutzpah right now. They kind of have an attitude like they have something to prove. They're on a mission, a bit of a chip on their shoulder.
13 for Rodriguez. It's a 10-point lead. Double digits for the first time either way today. And this crowd is now trying to get behind VCU to see if they can seal the deal. Hancock, pretty reach around, and Morrison says this ain't over yet.
Great feed by Hancock as he got into the lane and drew a defender, found a wide open Morrison.
Rodriguez from the elbow came wide open.
George Mason is starting to gamble a little bit more on defense. Rodriguez that time did not pull it back out.
Cornelius missed badly. He knew it, followed a shot. Long on the inside, poked away by Sanders. And it's staying the same way when we come back. All of a sudden, the calm demeanor is not quite as calm as it was before. 3:21 to go. Rodriguez and his teammates out to a double-digit lead, trying to reach the semifinals.
Those wannabe gimmicks are as slippery as a sidewalk.
There is a party going on for the team that's campus is just a stone's throw from here. 10-point lead for VCU, 3:21 to go. Winner gets Old Dominion tomorrow afternoon in semifinal game number 1.
Well, VCU has played very well in the CAA tournament, certainly over the years, and have played very well against George Mason here. Shaka Smart doing a terrific job this season in his first year. His team has really stepped it up in the last 10 minutes of this game.
So George Mason with the basketball, trying to dig out of as big a hole as they have seen all day long. That's Long. And he has had a cold shooting day. 2 out of 8 from the floor.
Well, he's the guy that Jim Larrañaga really has to count on to score in the last 3 minutes of this game. He's really one of the most experienced players on the court for George Mason.
And the drive down the lane. Nixon extends it to a 12-point ball game, and right now VCU can taste it. Birdsong the miss, Sanders the rebound, and right now this game belongs to the Rams, an 18-4 run.
They're doing it at both ends of the court. They're relentless on offense, and they're limiting George Mason to one shot at the other end of the court. The other matchups in the CAA tournament have been in the championship game, and this game has a feel of a championship game. But I'm not sure VCU can play much better basketball than they've shown here in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Gwynn fouled along the inside, off the miss. 2:20 to go.
There's this aggressive drive to the basket by Ed Nixon. No one rotating over from George Mason to stop his path to the basket. And I think that's really the way VCU has played the second half. They've been very aggressive at both ends of the court. Offensively, they've played fearlessly. When they have a shot, they take it. We talked about guys like Brandon Rozzell stepping up offensively and making some big shots.
This is Kevin Foster, redshirt freshman, seeing his first action of the day. Just 61% free throw shooter. And another try coming for the freshman out of Lakeland, Florida. 1 out of 2.
Now here's this full court pressure by George Mason. See if they can get VCU to make a mistake.
Once again, this is VCU's game to lose right now as we're coming up on 2 minutes left to go.
Well, I'm sure what sticks in VCU's mind right now is the fact that in the last game against George Mason, they had a 15-point lead in the second half and gave away that lead and eventually lost the game in overtime.
Good job of killing clock. Rodriguez missing on the shot, though, and Foster got himself the rebound. Door stays open for the Patriots. Long up and under, got it knocked away.
With Larry Sanders policing the low post defensively, I don't have a lot of hope that George Mason's going to get some easy baskets in the lane.
But Wright missing on that opportunity, and Gwynn the other way, the finger roll. That could do it. 13-point game, 90 seconds left to go.
This is where a young team really has difficulty battling back. You know, they can get deflated, and right now VCU is just feeding off of it.
It's amazing that Rozzell, who could not miss in the second half, just missed on a dunk that was going to be the cherry on top of the sundae.
Well, there was a point earlier in the season when Brandon Rozzell called there a period of time, and I remember the game against Northeastern when he said this was payback week. It didn't exactly work out the way he wanted because they went on the road and they lost to Northeastern, but I think he's getting version 2 of payback week in the way his team has played the second half.
Long to the inside. Nothing there. Gwynn the rebound. 13-point game. Mason's not even coming for them. VCU crowd knows their Rams are going to live to see another day.
Well, Joey Rodriguez running down the court, you know, kind of talking to the fans of VCU, and he's saying 2 more. And they're going to have a tough game tomorrow against ODU, but they're trying to do something unprecedented, and that is to win 4 straight games and get to the NCAA tournament.
Winding it down, a back and forth game. Neither team was able to separate itself until the guy with the basketball right there, Brandon Rozzell, put his team on his shoulders.
And the only question mark at this point, Scott, is does VCU have enough left in this gas tank to play a full 40 minutes against Old Dominion tomorrow?
They'll worry about that tomorrow. With the folks wearing black and gold right now are going to enjoy this one. The score is not in any way indicative of how this game was played. But let the record show a 15-point victory for VCU and a spot in the semis tomorrow for Shaka Smart.
Well, VCU playing great basketball right now, coming off a win against Delaware and another very, very strong outing here against George Mason.
So the team that generally has made it a habit of being there right down to the semis and finals is back again. And VCU will have an opportunity to play against the top seed, Old Dominion, coming up tomorrow afternoon. If VCU is rested and playing with the emotion, the building, they'll have the crowd behind them, then you've got yourself a heck of a game.
Oh, I think this just kind of lays itself out for a great semifinal game here at the CAA tournament. I mean, this place is going to be hopping tomorrow, and you're going to see two high-powered, well-playing basketball teams.
Old Dominion and VCU tomorrow at 3. Now we've got another side of the bracket to fill out. Northeastern will play for the first time against Hofstra, a last-second winner last night. William and Mary against James Madison, the upset winner over Drexel. That is coming up in our nighttime doubleheader about 90 minutes from now. So we want you to rejoin us here on the Comcast Network as our coverage of the quarterfinals continues. I'll tell you what, again, spectacular afternoon of basketball and a terrific game that fills out the top part of the bracket. Produced by Ken Henderson and directed by John Anderson. Now for John Griffin, our entire Comcast Network crew, this is Scott Graham. Go get a bite to eat. Meet us back here in 90 minutes as the coverage of the CAA tournament continues.